All right, hello.
Hello.
Welcome, guys, back for another week, episode 76 of Hello, the podcast. Hope you're all doing well listening out there. I'm joined once again by the lovely Jens. How you doing this week, Jens? What you been up to?
Hi, I'm good. What have I been up to? Not much. Siege, a bit of Cuphead. Oh, I did a bit of Elden Ring co-op mod.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, because it's a mod, isn't it?
It's a mod.
They haven't... Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like when I saw them announce that they were going to be doing multiplayer with yous, I was like, hang on, Elden Ring has multiplayer? Hang on a minute.
Yeah, so with the seamless mod, you can play the game with 4 friends, which is incredible.
Damn, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, so it was actually really cool because, like, it's just fun having...
Was it easier?
No.
No? It's still just as hard?
There is a mod that comes with it that makes the game a bit harder. So it like scales it a tiny bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess because that would kind of defeat the whole purpose of it.
Yeah, because then you're just gonna speed run through it and it's not gonna be fun, right? But like, no, it was surprisingly hard. Either that or I'm just really bad or what, I don't know, but we could not defeat Margit.
I mean, I guess it's hard as well because it's like, you know, Elden Ring, obviously, much as those other Soulsborne games, obviously hard enough on their own with just yourself.
Yeah.
But I feel like when it's just you, you can at least, like, all the gameplay's in your hands.
Yeah.
You know? When you're playing with maybe up to 3 other people, like, you know, trying to dodge roll around this boss and trying not to all get hit at the same time because you're probably thinking, like, in your head, oh, there's an extra 3 of us. You feel a bit safer. Like, surely we can take this guy. And so you just rush in and not think, but then they end up like one hitting you and you're like, oh.
Yeah, totally. There've been times where it's like, I don't know if he's trying to hit me right now or hit you. And so figuring that stuff took a bit of time as well. But yeah.
No, that's a mood.
What about you?
Marvel Snap.
Oh my God.
Marvel Snap, that's about it. I bought the Battle Pass.
Oh, we're getting serious.
Oh, we've been getting serious. Yeah. It's not true, but like I've looked at my Steam playtime of it, and it says 6.5 hours roughly.
That's a lot for a mobile game.
But it's also not true because like I think I left it sitting on my monitor open for a good like an hour or two at some point or something like that when I was making lunch and stuff. So it's not 100% true, but it's probably it's more than that from what I've played on like mobile as well.
It doesn't count. I guess it wouldn't. Yeah.
No. Yeah. But I'm pondering whether or not I can get away with playing a game or two as we record. I'm wondering how obvious it would be, you know? Because, like, obviously we've got, like, our read-up notes on my monitor here, but I could very easily just put it in the little corner and...
Oh, my God, you're addicted. Like, you're
snap away.
That's crazy.
It is. It's kind of... It is very addicting, though. Like,
I imagine. Yeah. I mean, any game that is on mobile is quite addictive.
Yeah.
It's
so hard when you've just got it in your pocket, you know? Like
totally, and they're supposed to be like quick games, you know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is they're so quick that it's like I'll go out for like a 10-minute break at work, and I'm like, yeah, I'll play a game of Snap, and then you're like, oh, I could fit 2 more games in.
Yeah, totally.
You know, like, nah, okay. Well, this week, Jens, it's gonna be a little bit of a quieter week. There's not a lot of news that's around about, obviously because it is more or less the start of the year. You know, typically we already know what's coming out at the start of the year.
Honestly,
so a lot of the time. That don't surprise us with stuff.
Honestly, this episode is mostly so that we can talk about Last of Us.
Pretty much. But all the other stuff is just filler.
Yeah.
We'll still go over it, obviously.
We'll do some news. No, but truly, there wasn't a lot. But we will go through the Last of Us episode 1 at the end of the show. So no spoilers until then. And we'll try and give like a very non-spoiler initial impression or whatever. Yeah. And then we'll go into some spoilers.
I mean, as well, anyone that's played The Last of Us, like, game, the first one, even if you haven't seen the show, it is a pretty close rendition of what happens in the game. So it's technically not even really a spoiler. But yeah, we with all these sorts of end of episode recap things we're going to try and keep it as spoiler free as possible.
Until a point.
Because obviously, you know, not everyone has the chance or the time throughout the week to watch it. Even it's 8:30.
You only just watched
it now, and I only just finished watching it because we've been busy the past 2 days. So
I'm shook.
Like, even myself, I couldn't even get.
I'm
to
shook
it.
you didn't watch it day 1.
I wanted to so bad, but I think Emma was streaming that night, and she finished up at like 11 o'clock or 11:30 or something.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Do you want to?" I was like, "Do you want to watch it?" And she was like, "How long is it?" And I was like, "It's an hour and 20 minutes." And she was like,
long.
"Yeah, maybe not." It's
okay.
long,
No, we're
yeah.
gonna talk about this later.
That's the end of the episode.
Speaking of movies, though, that I'm kind of excited about, out of nowhere, there's gonna be a Rainbow Six movie. Have you heard this?
Yeah, it's probably not going to be good.
Look, I have no hopes because I just don't think it'll be good. But
it's probably not gonna be
but
good. Yeah.
It's made by the people who did John Wick, which I haven't watched. But I think
what?
I haven't watched John Wick.
What?
Is it good?
Bro, what are you talking about? It's one of the best modern action movies of all time.
So why do you think the show will be bad?
It's Tom Clancy's stuff. Like they've been trying for years to get Tom Clancy's stuff.
Yeah, that's
like into the populace and whatnot. And it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Like,
and I don't think there's a lot of plot or story really that comes from. Oh, actually, I don't know. This is the game, I assume. Yeah. So I have no idea. Oh, sorry, the book.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like there've been books and things that they've written for years and years and years now. But it's like they're just war movies, so it's like how different can they be? I mean, just recently they did. When you go on Amazon, I think it's on Amazon Prime. I think it is. But the Jack Ryan.
Oh, yep, the Tom Clancy series.
That's the Tom Clancy series, and it's like. It's okay, but it's like it's nothing crazy, It's just a war TV show, It doesn't really offer a lot of substance, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is probably where I'm just a bit like, yeah, okay, cool. It's another film with Tom Clancy's name slapped on top of it,
Yeah, I think if there was like some, I don't know. I'm gonna hold my first impression because if there's like some spy stuff with great action, then.
Cool. I'm immediately going in with negative,
That's
impressions
fair.
and things. And Jens is like, I'll play devil's advocate. It might look all right,
That's fair. Yeah, I hear the books are really good. So I'm like, maybe if there's something in the books, then maybe there's something in the show. But yeah, who knows? But
all I want is Michael B. Jordan to jiggle peak.
Yeah, I was gonna say Michael B. Jordan is starring in this, and I'm curious. Do you think he'll do the Q&A? Do you think he'll lean? I watched a TV show the other day, and they had a fight scene that felt very much like Siege, where they would like
they were peeking in and out of corners and
they were like queuing and eeing and like in the corners, and like when he goes up the stairs, you always look up the stairs, he's doing that stuff, and he's shooting the door because he heard like the door move, so he shot at the door handle, stuff like that. I was like, this is Siege. And I thought it was cool. Like it was like, oh, this is cool. And I wonder if because I've been playing the game a lot more and I see Siege a lot more in my world, if I watch like old war movies or like action movies, would I also notice on those stuff, like throwing a flashbang in and then charging and like stuff like that.
Look, just to give a little bit of context for all the listeners out there, I recently went to a pop-up shop for Jens so that she could get some merch because it was only happening in Sydney. And I sent her a photo of what this merch was.
There's a big
and there was a little
camera.
white and black camera up in the top right-hand corner of the frame. I didn't even notice. I just took
you didn't
the photo
notice?
because I was like, that's the t-shirt. Yeah.
So big.
And the first message that Jen sent back to me wasn't like, oh, I'll take that shirt in the top right. It was, can you shoot that cam for me? Like it was. That's how down bad she is for Siege at the moment. It's kind of concerning.
I see cameras everywhere.
Yeah. So
and frost mats.
In Emma's prime, I remember when we first got Emma into Siege, she still loves it. She fucking loves that game still. But she was down bad. We went out to a night in the city, and there was obviously a bunch of cameras all around the train stations, and she was just walking and going pew 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 pew, and it was honestly,
10 points.
Gotta settle down. Yeah, basically.
But yeah, the movie is directed by John Wick director, stars Michael B. Jordan. No plot details are available, and yeah, there's like no release date, no nothing, no title. Yeah. We know nothing, but it was announced today over record, and hey, I'm looking forward to it.
Do you reckon it's going to be like a to cinema movie, or do you reckon it's going to be like a Amazon Prime will buy it up and put it? Because that's what I'm assuming now. Like if the Tom Clancy name is going to be pinned to it, I'm not sure if because the Tom Clancy name, because like Tom Clancy Jack Ryan is already on
Prime
on Amazon, if they've bought the rights to the like the TV shows or something like that, and so it could just be like a straight to stream type of.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thing. I'm not sure, but yeah, be interesting to see. It's probably still like in very early development, so we're probably not going to hear much
for
news
like
of it
2 years,
for a good little while, I would assume. Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting that a lot more video games these days are becoming, put into films and TV shows, and small little extra bits other than just the game.
Yeah, I mean, fucking Last of Us will have a lot. Set the bar very high. Anyway, I gotta stop talking about it just for now.
Yeah. No, we are. We'll get into that in a
We're just
a
bit excited.
Moving on though, Jens. Apparently Sims 4 is getting some new DLC, which I can't believe that they're still milking this cow,
They made
but
a lot
Sims
of
4
money.
is getting some DLC underwear and messy bathrooms. ? I mean, I didn't write this headline. Jens did. So
I did.
Yeah, it's a little bit concerning. But yeah, apparently the Simtimates collection, I guess appropriately named, is actually a partnership with a clothing brand, MeUndies. Of course, it's EA just partnering up with man, God. Includes styles that flatter everybody with fun prints and show off individuality and personality. We're not sponsored by MeUndies, just FYI.
It's MeUndies. Get it right just in case.
Sorry, yeah. But yeah, apparently this DLC set is going to include a bunch of different pieces, from briefs to bras to match sets in various patterns and swatches, some of which, of course, correspond to patterns you can buy for your real life body on the MeUndies site. # not sponsored.
This is so weird to me.
It really is. It's another, like, Sims is already, like, you could probably create your own family, in Sims and live out a totally different life to what you do. But this is just one step closer to, like, actually living out your Sims life. That you can buy the same clothes that your Sim puts on, just a little bit weird,
Yeah, and like, I don't know. I don't choose to make my Sim walk around in like her underwear,
No,
it's not really part of.
Don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah,
the only time I think I ever see my Sim in their underwear is like when they've come out of the shower. Or something like that.
Yeah.
So
it's weird.
It is a bit of a weird DLC, but I guess like I said at the start, they have milked this cow pretty dry. So
Do you think they're running out of ideas?
Yeah, or maybe not so much running out of ideas, but maybe running out of like meaningful things that they've been like, oh, we'll save that for Sims 5.
Yeah.
Like, they probably don't want to release all this juicy stuff right at the end, and then in 6 months' time be like, hey, Sims 5 is out, go buy that now.
True.
And everyone's like, actually, I still really like my underwear collection I got in Sims 4, so I'm going to keep playing that one for a little bit, But yeah, and then also there's going to be a second pack as well that's going to have some bathroom clutter in it. Cute wall decals for kids and grandma's dentures. It's really got it all, Jens.
Look. Yeah. I can totally relate to a clutter bathroom, so
yeah, mood.
I can take on that. I like that.
I feel like that's the thing that Sims needs a little bit more of.
Yeah, just like, shit.
Just shit, exactly.
It's too clean in the houses.
Nobody's home is a display home. As much as you want to believe,
unless you have OCD or something. And you have to clean.
I feel like it's still not the same as like a proper display home where like things are glued down to cabinets. They never move. They never get dust on them, Like everyone has shit somewhere. Even if it was just like stuff that you could like put in your wardrobes that's like, all of last week's clothes. They just sit in there, Like not hung up, they're just in there. I feel like that's something I need to improve on for Sims 5.
For sure. Just realism.
Yeah.
Of like, a jacket that you wore once to go out, and then you're just going to put it on on a chair.
You know what they need? They need the jacket chair. They need the once worn clothes chair. Yeah. And that's what they need to call it, the once worn clothes chair, which is just a chair you can buy for clean. 500 Similonians. It's clean, but you've just worn it once.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like surely with all this next gen tech they've got going on now, ray tracing and DDR5 VRAMs and all this shit, surely they can implement a chair that even each time you go out in Sims Land, it changes its pile slightly. You know,
Yeah,
like
it grows.
You wore a blue shirt out that night, and like when you come home and you change into your pajamas, the pile grows by one blue shirt. You know, like that would be just the extra little cherry on top that would just add to it.
Yeah, like a sock on the ground or on the side of the bed. You know, just real shit.
You know, just yeah, because nobody lives like that. You know, I wish I could come home from a night out, do a pirouette and spin into my pajamas, and then be like, okay, ready for bed.
It would be nice.
You know?
The Sims life would be really fun, but also maybe boring. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like like my poor Sims, they do the same routine every single day. You know,
they would have so much free time.
I'm too boring. Like,
true.
Yeah, my
Too
Sim
real.
can't play Snap though, so that's probably a good thing.
They might collaborate. You never know.
It's probably good. Who knows?
Speaking of weird collaborations,
yeah,
Porsche. You can buy a Porsche gaming chair. Did you know this?
Hell yeah, I guess.
And it'll cost just a little bit over $2,000, about $2,499 for a gaming chair. Yeah, and it for the money. I mean, you're definitely buying it for the brand, because I had a look at what this chair looks like, and it's gray and black in design with some red features that, you know, share similarity of Porsche and stuff.
Yeah,
but it doesn't look like anything different. And I know it's a chair. Like, there's not much you can do about a chair. But
that's true.
For that price, it's just insane.
Is that US dollars though?
It's probably US dollars.
I'm assuming it's US. Okay. To be fair, I can, if I wanted to, go and buy a Herman Miller and Body.
That's true. That's $2,000
for $1,795 US, and they have it in stock. So
it's not like crazy.
I mean, it is pretty crazy, but still. Like,
but it's not like
if I could go out and argue, like everybody knows. If you ask anyone that does, like, if they even bought some office furniture, if you ask anybody, they're like, "What's the best chair you can spend $2,000 on?" Everyone's just gonna say an Herbert Miller. You know, no one's gonna say, "Oh yeah, the Porsche Recaro gaming chair.
Yeah,
it's great. Go get that." Like, because again, nobody's tried it, so who knows? It might be fucking comfy.
I mean, it could be really comfortable. I imagine like the seat itself would be so comfortable. I wonder if it's going to be quite ergonomic.
I still feel like if I had $2,000 burning a hole in my pocket, I'm going to go and get the Herman Miller. Yeah. Again, just because of what I've heard about it, you know?
Just the sheer amount of reviews.
Yeah.
But, hey, it's got a higher headrest, which could make it more optimal for taller gamers. So maybe it's...
That's me. Yeah,
because it does look quite tall from the photos that I've seen.
Yeah, okay.
Also, unlike Herman Miller, you can go to a Porsche dealership and buy it in style and design it.
That is kind of cool.
That's kind of fun.
That is, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Have I sold you? You sold?
Yeah,
okay,
you sold me. Yeah.
And then you get like a little model of the Porsche chair.
It does look tall.
It does look tall, yeah.
It does look tall, yeah.
And it looks quite thick. Like the cushioning looks quite thick.
You know what? I like what they've done with it. It's like... It's a fabric material. It's not pleather. Yeah. Because I fucking hate pleather.
Well, us Aussies, we can't do pleather.
Yeah, I can't. Like, Emma's chair is just one of those, like, shitty pleather ones. I threw mine out years ago because I just couldn't deal with all the peeling that it did. Like,
it peels like crazy.
But they just don't breathe. So it is nice that it is like a material, like a fabric material.
I will say...
that would just make it... like it's like a couch.
Yeah, and like the design of this one is... Have you seen the Alienware chair?
No.
It's like an egg. Literally, if you see an egg and then you just put a chair inside of it. I feel like they've definitely done a better job for like the chair aspect. Although it could be cute being in like a cubby. Maybe it's like for sound or something. I don't know.
It still looks like edgy as well. Like it still looks gamery and things.
The gaming
I'm
Porsche
I'm not the biggest fan of. Yeah, the Porsche one. I don't like, you know, super gamery aesthetic type things. You know, I kind of like a blend of, you know, ergonomics, but like just standard just give me a basic office
Yeah.
setup look.
I never liked the look of like Secret Labs, but watching Macy J, I'm like, maybe I should buy a Secret Labs.
Look, I was gonna go for a Secret Lab, but then I was like, oh, I've heard that gaming chairs really aren't all that
They're
comfortable
not.
in the long run. So I was like, look, I may as well just save myself $100 or so. I got a really nice Herman Miller dupe type of chair.
Yes.
And it's quite comfortable. Like I really do enjoy it. I don't think I would change from this chair. It was expensive, don't get me wrong, but
I mean, it should be expensive.
Because like I sort of put my money into it where it was like, yeah, I'm sitting in it for a good handful of hours a day, right? Like, so I'm gonna get something nice.
Yeah.
Which everyone should do. Same with your mattress and things. Spend a little bit extra, get something a little bit more premium, a little bit plushier.
Because you sleep a third of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something.
Yeah. And then even better if you're working from home, it's a tax deduction.
True.
I'm not a tax agent though, so don't hold me to
check
that,
with your tax agent.
Please check with your tax agent. Yeah. But yeah, it's. I wonder if you can take the legs off it as well and mount it onto your racing rig if you've got one. Because that would be a pretty ballin' racing rig then. Because you'd be like, yeah, I got a Porsche racing rig at home. What of it?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, I reckon it's probably more for people who have like a portable wheel like you and like mounted to the desk. Use the Porsche chair.
Yeah.
Porsche.
I actually can't use my chair, my current one, when I use the wheel because the brake pedal is quite stiff. So I'm doing it right now, but every time. Because I got wheels, it pushes me away from the desk. So I've got it sitting right next to me, but just one of our dining table chairs because they don't have any wheels on them, obviously. So every time I use the wheel, I got to sit in my.
You need like
dining table chair.
One of those stoppers at the end of your behind you.
Yeah, for like the caravans or like the planes, it's like one of the cheese wedge things.
You need one of those. Oh my god, that's so funny.
It really, it completely like blindsided me when I sat down. I was like, "This is kind of fun." Oh, where am I going? And I was just pushing myself away from the desk.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, but no, it's very expensive, but it's kind of fun,
Yeah, Porsche also surprisingly have a gaming monitor partnership. I think with a gaming monitor company. I forget which one.
Yeah,
and a watch, a smartwatch.
Yes, a lot of these sort of racing brands have been getting into
tech,
tech recently. I've been seeing a lot more of it.
It's interesting
because it is. But I guess again, if you're these ginormous companies that have $1 million burning a hole in your R&D budget, like sure, why not?
Yeah, why
develop
not?
a monitor?
Totally.
Like, who's it hurting? No one. If people are gonna buy it, probably not. But sure.
All right.
Anyways, gents, we made it. We made it through all the fodder, all the news.
Yeah, not much other than that. Chat. Listeners.
Chat.
Sorry.
Automatic mode. There as well. The Last of Us. Now, for those that haven't seen it, we're gonna go through the non-spoilers first, like we normally do, for about maybe 5 or so minutes, maybe less. Who knows? We'll see how long we can hold ourselves.
We'll let you know.
We'll announce when we get into the spoiler part. Of it, So, gents, overall thoughts, non-spoiler take. What do you think of episode 1, The Last of Us, on HBO?
I have no faults as
me neither.
A viewer. I think, like, as expected, I think they did an incredible job. I know a lot of people were very skeptical because every video game adaptation has not gone well, but I think you can now have very good faith into this one that it's starting off very well.
I mean, it was a good sign from the start that one of the original writers of The Last of Us was on board from the beginning. Like, he wasn't brought on as a consultation at the end. He wasn't he was helping to write the show as well and produce it. So, so he was in it. That was a big green flag. Like, yeah.
Totally.
But it's, I'm the same. I had no faults with it. Pretty much, like I enjoyed the cinematography, I enjoyed the acting, I enjoyed all the little bits they filled in. Because again, like it's a TV show. In the video game, you have gameplay elements to kind of fill in the gaps between like all the dialogue and things, But you don't have that in a TV show, so they had to kind of make those parts up on the fly, I guess you could call it. And I feel like all the extra little bits that they did add just helped to flesh out the characters just a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a ginormous dump of like, here's Joel's 15-year backstory before he even had his kid. Like, you know, it wasn't anything like that. But it was just like little tiny things that kind of just, again, just fleshed out smaller scenes or, you know, little parts about characters that we might have already known, but like it's just, yeah, just a little extra feather in
because not
type of thing.
Everyone who is watching this would have played the game, you know? So they also need to get caught up on...
They cater for that too.
Yeah. They need to know what we know already.
And it was as well, though, like having been someone that, like, again, Emma's just recently been playing it, so I've been watching her stream playthrough of it and things. So I kind of, again, have somewhat of a fresher look at the show as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of spooky how some of the scenes in the first episode are almost basically one-to-one representations of things that happen in the game. Like... Not even like, that was a cool reference. It was like, damn, they literally took that 5-minute segment out of the game and put it into live action.
Totally. It was like, I remember playing this. Yeah, and that's such a cool feeling to experience and watch. Just to be like, oh shit, I remember this. Like, I remember how I felt when I saw and played this. So cool. And I'm so sad that people who are watching this who haven't played the game, they want to experience... Well, they will through the show, but like, there's not the double layer of experiencing it from a game to a show, and maybe they'll play it. Like, they probably would after, but
yeah. I still feel like if you haven't even played the games yet, I still feel like there is obviously a point to having played the games because, playing them going forward. Sorry.
There's a lot of stuff.
It's a different experience to sit back and kind of let someone else tell you the story, you know, like in the director and the actors and whatnot. But it's another thing to kind of, I know it sounds silly, but to like interact with the story as well. You know, physically control Joel, physically control Ellie.
And go through the fights and stuff.
Walk them through it. Exactly. Go through the fights yourselves. You kind of have a stake in it as well. Because it's kind of like when you play the game, it's kind of like you're also dropping Ellie off, you know, or taking her through all these different checkpoints and locations to try and take her to the hospital. You know, to try and take it to the scientists that are going to, you know, save her and all this. Like, it feels like you're also a character that goes along. Whereas the show, it feels you're more of like, you're an observer in a sense. You're kind of, there is a screen between you and them, I guess you could say. So yeah, I feel like if you haven't played The Last of Us and you're enjoying the show so far, I know it's a bit hard because there's only one episode in, but I still feel like there is a very good argument to say, play the game still. As much as you've spoiled it for yourself, kind of, you haven't fully experienced what a gaming can do.
And it won't, not everything will be in it. And there's so many things. It's like when you read a book and then watch a movie about it. There's not, they're going to miss so much stuff.
They're probably going to take shortcuts. They're probably going to gloss over some things. But again, that is one of the beauties of having the game there as well, because you can kind of go through it and do it at your own pace as well, you know? Like, that's one of the things I told Emma. I was like, look, when you're playing it, don't feel like it's a Call of Duty. You don't have to rush through everything and all that sort of stuff. Like,
just
one of the whole points is
live
to take
in the
your time
world.
and sort of, exactly. Live in the world. Go to the little tiny corners where that doesn't seem like there is something, because there might be something over there. You know, like just pick up all the papers.
I really want to play it again.
Like, me too. I saw Emma playing. I was like, damn, maybe I'm getting this itch again.
I know, right?
Because I picked up the remastered copy for her as well. So it's like I played the original remaster, which was still using the old gameplay elements. And like, yes, it had a new lick of paint, but it's like, they've got all the new lighting effects.
And the sound design apparently is
like, oh my God,
surround sound, like all that. I really want to experience. Anyways.
So I was like, maybe I have to go and give that a go.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, shall we go to the spoilers?
Yeah, I think so. So obviously, this is going to be the spoiler part of the show. If you haven't seen episode 1 of The Last of Us and you are concerned for spoilers, stop listening now. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Go and watch The Last of Us episode 1 if you can.
On binge.
And then come back and listen. Yeah, on binge. All right. Spoiler takes, gents.
I, for some reason, did not think they would bring Sarah into this.
Really?
I just didn't know how they were going to start it. And I was like, I didn't even think about it. And then they fucking do it. And then did you cry?
No, because I knew it was coming, but I could, you know that little ball that you get in your throat?
Yeah.
Like I could, that was coming up
I lost it. Like, I haven't cried that hard where your lip quivers. Like, I was so, like, it was so emotional. They did it so well. And it fucking got me again.
Yep. That's what everyone was saying in chat when Em was playing. It was like, oh, bro, I can't believe
crying again
for like the 19th time. Yeah. People have played the game so many times, and every time it makes
I don't
you cry.
get it, but they just do that death so effectively, where it's every time you see it, you will fucking cry. Like,
the crazy part about it is like, you don't even know a lot about Sarah.
No.
She's
compared to the TV show, they showed us way more about Sarah.
Yeah, exactly. But like in the game, you control her for 6 minutes.
Legit.
And she dies, and you're fucking quivering on the floor in the corner like, this game fucked me up. Like, it's insane. And so like, I think it stings maybe even just a little bit more as well with the show, because again, they do take the time to flesh out the character just a bit more, like, you learn that she's friends with her neighbors, and like she goes over and talks to like the elderly neighbors every once in a while just because they like company, like they bake cookies together and they talk about current
and
events,
she doesn't want to go home alone and stuff.
No. Yeah, and like, just all these little things that just add to the character, I
must say, the cast of her really, really felt like Sarah. Like, I know that's a weird thing to say, but she really felt like Sarah, and she was casted so well.
You know what's crazy as well is I heard that the directors for the show said to basically all the actors that are playing major characters were like, don't play the game.
Oh.
Don't read up on your characters. Don't do anything like
Interesting.
that. Because it'll give you, I think it was like they'll give them sort of preconceptions about what the characters are, and it was like it might have been harder to then direct them to do something a bit different if they've already experienced it in some way and was like, well, but he did it in the game this way. The director would be like, we don't want to do that.
Especially if they're trying to do scene to scene in some scenes.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because as well, you think too, like, you imagine if you're Joel, right? Put yourself in Joel's boots, you know your daughter's gonna die, right? So you being the actor, being placed in that scene, you're like, okay, well, Sarah's gonna die in about 7 minutes. I know it's coming, but and then you might not get the same reaction out of the actor. So I feel like that's why as well they were like, look, don't play the games, don't spoil as much for yourself if you can, because it'll make it just a little bit more of an effective acting tool to have when we actually do it on scene on day, like, and I thought that was interesting too.
Man, it was I love Pedro Pascal.
He fits the role so well. That was the first thing that was a green light for me. Not even just like having the writers on as like showrunners and things, but when I saw that Pedro Pascal was cast as Joel, I was like, nail on the head.
Yeah, and I'm like so proud that they haven't gone for like a generic white guy like Nathan Fillion or like they have really thought. They have really thought of the role, and I think Pedro did Joel so well, and his accent's like on point.
Yep,
he's got like that slight,
like same with the mannerisms and things as well. Yeah, he's just like a grumpy old.
Just the way he looks,
like he's been
it just everything
shit.
really works. And his demeanor, and I know there was a lot of skepticism about Ellie. It is a huge role.
Yep.
What did you think of Ellie, the actor?
She cracked the shit out of it, man. Oh my god. Like, I was talking to one of my mates at work, and I was like, look, I haven't seen the show yet, so don't spoil it for me. But well, not so much don't spoil it for me. We don't like really tell me what happens.
But still.
So I kind of want to experience. But yeah, but he was like, all I want to say, it's not even a spoiler, but he was like, the actor that plays Ellie absolutely nailed it. Because he was like, how she was just like a bitch. Right?
Yeah,
like the first half of the game, she was annoying. She was a teenager. She was a brat. She was just in the way. And he was like, she like hits it on the head.
Yeah.
Exactly. Again, like with the casting of Joel, she just like she plays the character perfectly. Where for the first half, she's just a bitch. She's annoying. She's in the way. She's like, she's just chatting shit to everyone. She's causing trouble. And like, it's going to be fun to see her develop into the Ellie that she obviously becomes at the end of the game, where she sees Joel as like a father.
Yeah.
Basically. Like, or like an uncle or something like that. It's not so much, this is my Uber delivery man. It's, this is the person that's gonna help me save everyone's lives, kind of, you know.
She was really
and
good.
I really enjoyed it. She's cracked the shit out of it so far. So I'm really excited to see what she does in the upcoming episodes.
I'm trying to think what else.
I mean, look, again, it like, you know, again, for those that have played The Last of Us, it is a pretty 1-to-1 like representation of the show, of the game. Sorry.
Yeah, it's an hour and 20 episode. It's really long, but it didn't feel very long. And they went through all the major things quite quickly. Like they got it all done in the first episode, and it's like that's all intro we needed. Now we're in it. Like we know exactly how it happened.
Yeah. Again, for those that have played the game, the part where the episode, obviously, again, if you're listening here, you've watched the show, I'm assuming, but the part that they end the episode on is them leaving
the city,
Boston City, like the main part of the city where they first start out. Like they've gone through the sewer tunnels and things like that, and they've cracked a way out. So their next episode, they're obviously going to be moving towards, you know, trying to find Joel's brother, and whatnot. You know,
I'm so curious to see like the clickers, because we haven't really we've only saw one on the wall.
I kind of spoiled myself again for it, but I saw someone did they were like, watch closely at the end scene, and I don't know if you saw it, but on the very end scene where like the camera's panning up and it's playing that like 80s song basically to signify the danger. On the left-hand side, on the top of the buildings, it's quite tricky to see because it's so dark. But there's a clicker up there, and he's going ballistic. And I didn't click it. Pun not intended, but I'll take it. But it didn't click with me initially. It was like, why are they posting this video? And they were like, someone in the comments was like, actually, you know what? I didn't even think about it. But the clickers, right? They're blind, obviously, because the kind of the virus has taken over their whole skull, in a sense. It's either the brain, they have no vision anymore because it's taken out all their senses, in a sense. And so the only way that they are able to sort of track the characters, I guess, around them is by sound.
Yeah, clicking.
So when you're sneaking through them in the game, you know, when you're trying to sneak past them, you've got to be as quiet as possible, or you've got to distract them by throwing bottles or bricks or something like that to kind of get them out of your path. And it never clicked with me, but I was like, can you imagine being a clicker in a thunderstorm when there's rumbling, when there's cracks of lightning? Can you imagine how annoying that would be to just be in that like state of like always having something in your ears, just banging, crashing, crumbling,
and you just don't know if it's,
and you just don't, and because again, like you're blind to a sense. You could just be walking around, bumping into shit, falling downstairs.
Was that why it was going like crazy?
And it was it was like on the top of this building, and it was just screeching and clicking and things. You can't really hear it again because of the thunder and the lightning and whatnot. But there is a part right before it blacks out and shows the credits.
That's so interesting.
Hear it, like do a screech. So after this, go back on like open up Binge and watch back through it. But yeah, there is like that's the first imminent sign of danger. You know. So it's they kind of and it's quite eerie, because it's like they're already on their trail. They're like 50 steps out of the city and the clickers are already right there. Like that's just how dangerous the outside world is than leaving the city. So it's, I can't wait for episode 2.
Me too, dude. It is
again, like
incredible.
You said, they've got through it quite fast, so we're gonna get right into the meat of it. Like.
Yeah, it's so well made from just the visuals, the similarities, and the CG, like the scale of the
the CG was so, again, it's HBO, so they probably tossed like $16 billion at this show, like understandably.
I didn't notice anything CG really, like it just all looked seamless.
Yeah, that's it. That's how you know it's good CG though, is that like nothing sticks out to you and you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. They probably did blow that plane up, They probably bought a plane and threw it down on the ground.
So cool.
Like that's how good the CG was. So yeah.
I really liked how they explained the virus at the very start. And they kind of tied it with global warming. And I don't know if the game pledged.
No, so the game never tells you what the virus. You just know that there's a virus.
Okay.
Basically, it's obviously like in real life, it's based off the cordyceps like fungus.
Oh, is it really?
And so yeah, that's kind of like the most similar fungus out there. There is actual fungus called the cordyceps fungus, which does take over the brain of like
so
insects
what that guy
and creatures and things.
explained.
Basically, what Big Head was saying. Yeah,
I loved that scene just to set it.
Emma was like, "Is that Big Head?" Like, because we not long ago finished watching Silicon Valley, obviously. And I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him in anything else.
It took me a while for us to figure that out. I was like,
yeah. The
guy's very familiar.
No, yeah. And so they drop the cordyceps name. The scientist drops it at the start there. And I was like, I picked up on it. But yeah, like in the game, they never discreetly say
how
it's a fungal virus.
Yeah.
It's a zombie virus. It was made in a lab and it escaped, and they never sort of tell you. And so, yeah, I did like that as well, how they kind of linked it to real-world events and was like, well, funguses currently don't actually withstand any temperatures higher than 74
Isn't that so cool?
Fahrenheit,
they were talking about it. Oh, and they were like, it can if global
warming happens. If the world was... Because this is like, they shot that scene, probably in like the 80s or something, where global warming probably wasn't a concept at the time, or wasn't believed as much. And so they're like, well, if the world was to somehow warm up, then obviously
it gave me chills. It was so cool the way they connected it that way. It's like
they did it really well,
and it kind of feels like, oh fuck, like we could even.
That's what I mean. I was like, damn. Well, hang on a minute.
Yeah, right.
What's gonna happen in 30 years?
And also, people, according to science, are being born colder for some reason. They don't know how. They don't know why, but they're colder than
that's what I mean.
People 10 years ago.
Like theoretically, we think all these things are taking a long, long time to, develop and, be, evolve from and to and things, which they do in reality. But, who knows how long we've been evolving this way for? Like, theoretically,
so cool.
It could be right around the corner.
So scary, but so cool.
It is, yeah. But that's the thing, though, is like, yes, the show is meant to be scary. Yes, it's a horror and things like that. But just adding that little bit of like realism tension of like, well, what if
it could happen?
Like, it makes it just a little bit scary.
That's why Black Mirror, I think, was so successful, because it was like, this is not far off from our own reality. No. This honestly, can happen.
To be like, let's be honest, cordyceps viruses and zombie infections and things probably centuries away.
I think we got some time.
But Black Mirror type events.
Yeah, I think we're coming close to that.
15, 20 years. 15, 20 years, I reckon. I'd be safe to put a couple of $1,000 on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that like almost relatability is so cool.
Almost a certainty. Like, yeah.
So cool. Did you like the intro?
I did. That's what I said to Emma as well. I like that they've done like the same sort of guitar strings and things like that. That's what they do in the game. And Emma was like, it's very Game of Thrones.
The intro is like so Game of Thrones.
Very Game of Thrones. How like the city's coming up out of the fungus and then it flows down into another city.
I loved it. Yeah. I think they did it really well, but it was very much on the nose of like, this is Game of Thrones.
That's what I was like. I was like, do you reckon that they just got the Game of Thrones intro and ran it through like they ran it through ChatGPT and were like, just make this fungus, and it was like, okay, great. Like,
I mean, it worked. It wasn't like, this is strange. It doesn't.
To be fair, like I feel like I'd prefer something like that that's abstract. That's like if it was just like introducing Joel, introducing Ellen,
like the generic.
It's
I do prefer this. This was just like spread of fungus. It's cool. But yeah, they like kind of did a remix with the classic guitar.
Yeah, they obviously
mini
had to,
music,
like, TVify it, I guess you
good.
could say.
I liked it,
but it was because it was close enough to the game that anyone that's played the game was like, whoop, 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 whoop. But it was also new enough that if you've played the game, you're like, I can get behind this.
Yeah, this is a bit different. I like it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for more and like to see Ellie more and to see them fight and like
yeah. It is. It's gonna be popping. Like,
I'm curious if they'll do a Last of Us 2.
That's what I was just thinking before. I was like, do you reckon that the show's going
to do very well,
extremely popular, but do you reckon that HBO is going to greenlight like a season 2, maybe not so much it followed directly the game and go like, hey, Last of Us Part 2, but maybe somewhere in between. And again, they bring the writer back on to kind of maybe flesh out some events that happen in between. Because obviously when we finish Last of Us Part 1, the video game, Ellie's still young, you know? And then we start Last of Us Part 2, and I forget the time jump from Part 1 to Part 2, but obviously there's a pretty good jump in time because Ellie's like, you know, she's in her mid-20s, you know, Joel's obviously a little bit older again and all this sort of stuff. But we don't know what happened between that time jump. So there is a very good chance that they could flesh out those in-between years and make a show before even considering getting to what happens in the Last of Us Part 2 game, you know? Because I feel like it would shoot themselves in the foot in a business standpoint to just do 2 seasons of Part 1 and Part 2 and be like, okay, that's it. Cool.
Yeah, or maybe they just like, we know we can nail this and we don't need to offer anymore. Like, it's almost
like, would they even maybe do a Walking Dead type thing as well, and maybe do like a spin-off show with some of the different characters? Like maybe we follow the Fireflies for a bit. You know,
that'd be interesting.
Maybe we follow Bill. Maybe we follow Tommy. Like who knows? You know, there is potential.
I wonder. The show has definitely made me understand the story better, and like especially how the fungi work, and like who the Fireflies really, what they do, and all the it just made me, I don't know, maybe it's just been a long time since I played the game that I was like trying to remember it, but I feel like they nailed the story.
You only just recently played like Part 2 kind of with an asterisk to it, so like you would have played Part 1 even before that again.
Yeah,
you know?
long time.
So yeah, even for me as well, it's been a good couple of years since I've played the game, and I've kind of only been dipping in, dipping out of Emma's streams to try and catch little bits of it. But like you said, it does. It helps to, even for us that have played the game, flesh out some of those little in-between bits and just makes it a little bit easier to comprehend. Because again, you think too, like you played it when you stream, so it's kind of a different experience of playing it at home. I feel like on stream you might feel obligated to get through it a little bit faster. To a degree.
To a degree.
You know? So you might not pick up all the pieces of paper, and you're not going to sit there and read all of the little tiny bits of things, you know, to flesh out all the backstory that the game gives you. So the show does help in doing those because it just is part of the show, you know. Yeah. But I absolutely adored it. I can't wait for the episode 2 next week.
Yes.
I most definitely will be forcing Emma to watch it on Monday as soon as it comes out. Because I don't think I'm working. So as soon as it's like
1 p.m.
launching that binge app. Yep. Get on it.
Honestly, do it just for the spoilers, you know what? Of people.
I was that excited. I didn't even care that it wasn't in 4K. Like, it didn't even cross my mind.
Is still great.
Yeah.
I'm so shook. Like, I was expecting to notice the quality being bad, but when they did a close-up of Joel's face, I was like, holy shit, the quality is still really good.
I mean, look, to be fair, any modern 4K TV does have AI upscaling built into it.
Yeah, but I don't know. The House of Dragon, first episode, it was dog shit.
That
it was
could have
like,
also been to bandwidth, you know?
Yeah, and like, I think it was. And we watched it back, but you could still like notice quality. Like you could be like, you could tell straight away 1080p this is. That one, I didn't even think about quality. Like it didn't even come to my mind. It was just really, I don't know. They just did it really well.
To be fair as well, again, Game of Thrones is...
It's a lot of dark.
It's centuries old. They shot that back in like, what, the 1600s, right? The cameras probably weren't that good back then. Last of Us is probably like, mid-2000s, mid-2010s. Like, they've got better cameras, you know? Fair. So, like, you got to give them credit. Those dragons as well, it's probably a bit hard to maneuver cameras. Like, when you're a dragon, you got tiny arms. So... You got to give them credit.
That's true. And you're like probably in the air with the dragon, and like if they're blowing smoke in you,
like it's warm up there, bro. It's warm up there, you know, like with all that fire.
Fair, that's fair. Yeah. I'm curious on how they handle the dark scenes because they, like, you know, in the sewers and stuff like that.
That's true. Yeah, they're probably going to very heavily utilize more often than not. They'll probably utilize glow sticks or something like that to have like some form of like constant lighting effect. You know,
this reminds me because it's made by the people the director of Chernobyl. And you haven't seen it?
I added it to the watch list.
Okay, please watch it.
Because I was on binge. I think it was like when we finished the episode. You know how it comes up with the credits, they dropped into that small little bit. And it was like shows you might like, and it was like Chernobyl was like the third one.
It's an incredibly mega show, and it's really it's quite short. I think 5 or 4.
Yeah, it was 5 episodes.
Yeah, it's very short, but it's a freaking painful watch. But
yeah,
I know I won't spoil it, but there is a moment where they utilize darkness, and I'm so curious if they're gonna do it in this game because they utilize that darkness so fucking well. You were like terrified because you didn't know what the hell was. You couldn't see anything. The actors couldn't see anything. It was so well done.
I feel like they're going to because again they're gonna have to build attention somehow.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean they already did with the first episode, build some tension and.
I mean, like you just think like again the clickers are blind.
Yeah,
right?
They're going to be in dark spots.
They're going to be in darkness. They're going to be in... Oh, they're not even going to know they're going to be in darkness. Yeah. But, you know, they're just going to be in this little bit...
so good.
But can you just imagine the screen being dead black, right?
Yeah.
And you're watching it with a pretty decent sound system, so you get like that 3D
and then they
audio.
Like turn on
and it's like... it just clicks to your right.
Yeah.
You know? Like you just hear that... like to your... and it just...
Bro, could you imagine?
It'll send chills down your spine.
We need to write this down. What if there was like a haunted house Last of Us edition and there were like clicker actors and if you are close or make too much noise, you're fucked.
All right. I'm going to start running an email to Sony.
Yeah.
I think tomorrow I'll schedule it. I'll write it tonight and I'll schedule it for tomorrow morning at AM.
That'd be so fun.
That would be. I'm surprised that they haven't done something. I'm sure they've done something with like clickers. I've seen them have clicker actors at like, you know, gaming events and expos and things like that. But I'm surprised that they haven't done anything more with it. Like I feel like the Hollywood Horror Nights would be a good like a good place for it type of thing, you know? Maybe they will with the show being out this year. Maybe this Halloween. Clickers resurgence, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to see all the kids knocking on my door in, you know, Ghostface costumes. I want to see
the fungus
costumes. You know, I want to see him go to Coles and Woolworths and get a bunch of mushrooms and glue them to their face. That's what I want. You know. But yeah, all right. It's all I said before we started recording. I was like, look, we'll get a good half hour out of this episode. There's not already. We've almost at an hour.
I've been dying to talk about it, so I'm so happy.
I think we end it here before we get any more ahead of ourselves, and we're in like the 2-hour mark. Jens, before we wrap up for the week, was there anything else you wanted to add on?
No.
Yeah. No, nothing from me either. As always, though, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.